Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. As part of our coverage of ATX Television Festival Season 8, I was lucky enough to sit down with a couple of the cast members from the new HBO show Los Espookys. If you haven't at least watched the trailer, you should do yourself the favor. Los Espookys is a joy of a show that takes on one of my favorite genre combinations, horror comedy. I sat down with Bernardo Velasco, who plays Ronaldo, and Cassandra Ciangherotti, who plays Ursula. And we had a wonderful chat about what they love about mixing up these genres, the fun of the show, what they thought when they got cast, and more. I hope you enjoy. So this is Les from the TV Dudes, and I'm lucky enough today to speak with some of the folks from Los Espookys, which if you haven't watched the trailer for that, you really should. I believe it premieres June 14th, and looks completely different than what I thought based on first hearing. It's going to be a Spanish language paranormal show on HBO and comedy. And I have a soft spot for horror comedy. It doesn't get done enough. But then when I saw the trailer and realized it wasn't sketch, it was going to be more of a full fictional narrative world, leaning a little more towards like a Flight of the Conchords type comedy, but with a supernatural horror. I should say, I'm sitting here with Cassandra and Bernardo from the show, and can y'all talk a bit about when you first heard about the show, when you first became involved, what you thought it was versus the tone of the thing you ended up getting to make?
Well, for me, it was very weird to read the script at the beginning, and I didn't know what was going to turn out. But for some reason, I did felt the energy that has been prepared in the TV show. Like it was on the script, and the realization has been like so close to what I would feel when I was reading the script.
Yeah, it was really interesting how the situations are just building, and they are close to the thing you read in the script, but when you see it in the screen, it's really, really amazing how the things start working. When I first received the script and they told me this is a comedy show, and I didn't laugh at all when I was reading the script, I was like, okay, I am happy to be part of this, but I don't know how this is going to work. And we were talking about the non-logic of the world that Julio, Fred, and Nana are building, and we just need to be part of this non-logic, and the process was to try to get familiar with these rules and just to play with those rules. Mm-hmm.
But it's very interesting what you say, because that non-laughing at the beginning, it's what makes it so special, because now when you watch it, sometimes you just puff a big laugh like you don't know where did that come from, but it has been building up like since when you don't notice. So it's just like there it pops up like a big laugh, and I think that's very smart of them, because you don't see it in the script. It's just building there, like bopping like a volcano.
I think that's kind of what surprised me in the trailer. Was I was expecting one-liners or quips or kind of zinger jokes, and instead it's a tone of a funny world.
Exactly.
It seems like the whole space is funny.
Right.
Did the characters change? For you play Ursula and Ronaldo respectively. Did the characters change from when you read them to once you got involved? Was there an evolution to your character? And also, can you describe a little bit about the character you play?
Yeah. Mine changed a lot, because like in the pilot it was the most undeveloped one, because I mean we needed a group to feel like this woman was very important in the
balance
in the balance of the whole group, and it changed because then when the story started, like Ursula had her character more portrayed like as if she was like the one that is more practical, and she's the one that makes everything, all the ideas that Julio might come up with, what Andres might come up with, she's the one that makes it happen.
Yes, I will say Ronaldo maybe will be my best friend in the high school. It's a kind of guy I would really like to spend time with. His room is just amazing, full of these dolls and posters of horror movies. He's a really big fan. And his big heart and his kind of innocence, transparency.
He's the sweetest.
Yeah, and I really like this character because of that, because he contrasts the horror things with his kindness and very friendly guy. And he tried to encourage his friends to achieve maybe impossible missions. Like somehow they don't have limits when they try to invent the new spooks things. They don't have limits, but his work, his job is just to encourage people and push them to achieve the dreams. It's like a dream for them to do this work.
Can you both talk a bit about what got you into acting and what's been most surprisingly satisfying about the work? What do you enjoy about, what's felt surprisingly best about getting to act?
Well, I always like to feel things. I like to be compassionate about other people's lives, and that's what I love the most. But like in terms of a career, it has always been surprises me where like everything is happening without you knowing where it's gonna be ending, you know? Like it's like a wheel of fortune, and I would never imagine that this show would come out in my life. I mean, in my wildest dreams, I wouldn't thought that this could happen. But I mean, I feel so lucky. I feel so lucky right now.
Yes, it's really impressive for me this part of my career, because I come from a very deep drama school. And very solemn and very serious drama. So this kind of shows come to me to refresh my way to see the acting and to relax it really, really in a very comfortable way. And yeah, I think I can recover with this project the ability to play, to enjoy performing in a really, really light but complex way to understanding the situations and the characters, and to show the people. One of the parts I really like about this show, it's in the beginning it was named Only Good Things Happen, and it was supposed to happen in Mexico City. Mexico, it's been the last year through a very, very difficult time with the violence, with the drugs war, with all these things, and many shows are talking about this situation. So the possibility to have a show that talk in a place like Mexico City in a different view of a place where only good things happen was really refreshing for me. It was really, really nice to think about this possibility.
It is true that what you're saying, because like in Mexico we have really strict like art schools that are really like don't get into comedy like most, and for us has been like a very, very interesting perspective of like appreciating life, because even the characters that are the creators of the show, they have like very special minds. I think like they always put themselves in another perspective of watching the same thing that we're watching, and it's so interesting to get to meet those kinds of minds.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you have any particular memories from set about realizing that you needed to lighten that up, that you had played a scene a lot more staunch and serious maybe than you needed to, and thought, no, take a deep breath, this is fun?
Yeah, totally. I would do like a lot of scenes with drama. Like I would quit my job as a dentist, and I would be like, I'm leaving with so much drama, and then Anna would come out and say like, there's no drama. You like going. I was like all the time was like that until I get into the skin and said like, oh, I love this. I don't have to be dramatic about it. I just have to do it. That was pretty interesting. And of course, like some scenes that we were laughing so hard that we couldn't do the scene because it was so funny what we were doing. And you have to get into that because you have to, your body has to relax and understand that it's funny what you're doing. And yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah, I remember this part of the show where Ronaldo is about to achieve his big dream to work with this horror movie director, Biancanova, and he is really excited to get there. And when he realized that Biancanova is not the person he always dreamed about, and he have a really a deep moment. It happened the same with me. I was really suffering and dragging the character to a real touching moment.
He was like, no,
he was like, no.
Bernie.
You say, okay, goodbye. I'm coming back home. Thank you.
Yeah, amazing.
So it was kind of double job for
because
us.
it gets into your life as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, and in Mexico we come from this telenovelas
dramas.
culture, big dramas, people really suffering and yelling to the sky.
My son.
Yes, and we have it in our
blood.
ADN, yes, DNA.
Did either of you watch horror growing up, or do you have a favorite horror movie?
Oh, I love The Conjuring. You know that? Yeah. I mean, I don't know why I always associate horror with the 70s and the 60s. I don't think there's another time for it.
I agree. I want to see the film grain on all good horror movies.
Yeah, I mean,
something dirty about it.
Yeah. I don't know if this time, like in the 2018, it would work because there's so many things that you could do that I don't know. But yeah, The Conjuring was like so scary, so scary movie. Which one is your favorite?
I remember. I am not into the horror movies now as a grown, but I remember a lot. My uncles used to watch this movie, The Devil's Eyes. En español es El Despertar del Diablo. It was a really, really horror, gore movie. And I have a lot of memories of that. And also my grandma was a very, very good storyteller of horror in her old town in one part of the Mexican country. She used to have a very, very good horror stories, and all the cousins and the grandsons around her hearing the stories for hours. She was really good storyteller.
And it's very important, like, to think about people are scared about. Like, some people are scared of people in real life, and some people are scared of paranormal things. I'm the paranormal type of horror person.
Have you ever seen something?
I've seen things, yeah,
Okay.
like in real life. But that's my thing. I mean, maybe it's in my mind, but I believe that I've seen paranormal things. But I'm not that afraid of real things, you know, of thieves and all of that. I think The Shining is more like a real sort of fear, you know, fear of your partner or fear of a couple.
Of your mind.
Of your mind. But yes, as I said, like The Conjuring is really like something you cannot control.
Yeah, my dad's first question on horror movies is, can it die by a gun? And then if so, it's not a horror movie. Like he'll sit down and watch it then, because like, oh no, you could shoot that, I could shoot that and kill it.
But if you cannot,
Nope, he's out. He won't even sit down for it. And my wife is the opposite. She doesn't want to watch she doesn't want to hear about burglars or home invasions or anything. That's real fear. That's not funny. So she'll watch Ghost, she'll watch Conjuring.
you can tell that a lot about a person by knowing which kind of thing he's scared about. No?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about mixing comedy into it is that 1-2 punch of being scared and then being made safe by a joke is such a fun feeling to give an audience over and over.
Because it's so mixed together. Like, I don't know why people don't do it as much as you said, because it's like you get scared and you're like, oh, and then the laugh comes afterwards. So they come together.
Not harmful.
Yeah,
Yes.
they come together. It's like a rush, and then it's like a wow, I love that. It's the two genders that must have been together for a long time, and they haven't.
And one part that made me feel connected with the show is that in Mexico we have this culture of watching of approaching to the death with joy and with party festivals about death and scary things. So we have all these since we were a child. It's like a Halloween. We have a Mexican Halloween too, to do a party about the scary things and the death.
Dia de Muertos. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for taking out time today. I'm really looking forward to the show. And I heard about it and I was interested, and then I saw the trailer and was like, oh, we're watching that. That looks fun. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast and a member of the Permanent Record Podcast Network. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, please go to patreon.com/TVDudes. You can like us on Facebook and Twitter at TV Dudes, and help us out on iTunes by giving us a 5-star rating and writing a review. To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com and permanentrcrd.com. I'm Grant Davis. Thanks for listening.